All right, I want to briefly address this Deontay Wilder $50 million offer situation, because there's a lot of clowns out there saying Joshua should just accept the offer without seeing any paperwork because Al Heyman and Shelly Finkel are good for the money. Without proving that they're good for the money, we should just assume that they are, based upon the big fights they've put on in the past. Ridiculous. I'll get onto that in a second. But first of all, if you're serious about making a fight, the least you can do is meet with the rival promoter and have a talk about it. Eddie Hearn has been trying to make meetings with Wilder's team. Facts. They cancelled the first meeting. Eddie Hearn said, okay, can we meet tomorrow instead, which is today? Yeah, the first meeting was supposed to be yesterday. Wilder's team cancelled. Hearn said, okay, let's meet on the Friday, today. Rumor is they also cancelled that meeting. I don't know if that's 100% confirmed, but Kugan Cassius mentioned that that was the rumor in one of the videos he uploaded earlier on today. So if they've also cancelled today's meeting as well as yesterday's meeting, you're trying to tell me they're serious about making Wilder versus Joshua? Give me a break. If you're serious about making Wilder versus Joshua, you don't give a $50 million offer with a 24-hour time limit on it and say to Joshua, accept it within 24 hours or there's no point in me meeting your promoter, Eddie Hearn. We're not going to show you any contract, no paperwork, just accept the offer or there's no fight and we're not going to meet with your promoter. Ridiculous. If you think that that's a serious offer, then I don't know what brand of crack cocaine you're smoking. Now, as far as this whole issue with Shelly Finkel and Al Heyman being good for the money, Shelly Finkel and Al Heyman have put on big fights in the past, like I've mentioned before, Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, etc. They've been involved in those big fights, but their backers are not going to put up crazy amounts of money for just any old fighter. Do you think that Shelly Finkel or Al Heyman could get $50 million for an Errol Spence fight right now? No, they couldn't. Their backers are going to want to recoup and profit from their investment. So they're not just going to give Shelly and Al tens of millions of dollars for any old fight. Yeah, understand how this works. It's like you go into the bank. The bank has got billions, right? You go to the bank and say, okay, I want money to start, I don't know, a record label. I want $30 million to start my own record label. Are they going to give you the money? Of course they're not going to give you the money. But if you go to them with a realistic proposal where they believe they're going to get their money back in interest, then they might entertain you if it's a couple of grand. It all depends on how much they believe in what you're doing and how realistic it is you're going to be able to pay the money back and give them a profit on top. And this is the position that Al Heyman and Shelly Finkel's backers are in. Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua are not big names in the United States. So why should Eddie Hearn just believe Shelly Finkel and Al Heyman have got this $50 million plus to put the fight on, when neither Joshua nor Wilder are big names in the United States? Neither Joshua nor Wilder have put on a pay-per-view before in the United States. Facts. Furthermore, just to emphasize the point, when Deontay Wilder was set to fight his mandatory Alexander Povetkin, that situation went to a purse bid. Al Heyman lost the purse bid to Povetkin's people. Do you know what the winning purse bid was? It wasn't 50 million, I can tell you that. The winning purse bid was $7 million. That's all it was. Just $7 million. That's all it took to outbid Al Heyman and have Deontay Wilder go over to Russia to fight Povetkin. Just $7 million. So Wilder's team, Wilder's people haven't shown the ability to produce tens of millions of dollars for a Deontay Wilder fight before. They haven't shown that ability. Imagine if Anthony Joshua was fighting Povetkin and it went to a purse bid. You think Eddie Hearn couldn't bid more than $7 million? He would bid at least triple that, probably quadruple that, in order to get the fight in the UK. Eddie Hearn with Joshua has proven that he's got tens of millions of dollars for fights. He's proven it. He's filled out stadiums, 80,000, 70,000, 90,000. He's proved he's good money, as they say. Deontay Wilder hasn't proved that he can generate them kind of numbers. And so once again, Shelly Finkel and Al Heyman's backers, yeah, I'm sure they have money, but are they really willing to spend that kind of money on a fight between Joshua and Wilder, who are at this point relatively unknown in the United States among the wider public? That's the question. So a little bit of common sense needs to be applied to the way people are looking at this situation. And a little bit more on Al Heyman. You know, I like Al Heyman. I think he's been great for boxing. But as far as his investors go, he has had to streamline his business. He has had to make massive cutbacks in terms of spending since he started PBC. Because when he first started PBC, he took a huge gamble because he was buying airtime from multiple different television networks, multiple different channels. He was buying airtime and putting his fights on and then trying to recoup from the advertising revenue. That model did not work. That model made a lot of his investors apparently very unhappy, and the shareholders, etc. It made them very unhappy. They felt like they weren't recouping. And so Al Heyman had to dramatically change his business model. Now Al Heyman does far fewer shows than he did in the first year of PBC, way fewer. And PBC is now on way fewer networks. They had to streamline right down because what they were doing before wasn't working from a business perspective. It helped a lot of fighters, definitely, and it gave a lot of fans free entertainment, free boxing, which was great. But long term, it wasn't sustainable. And Al Heyman, with pressure from his investors, has had to rein in and spend a lot less and be more traditional in terms of his business model. Now, understand that Al Heyman's investors, his backers, they're not looking to lose money like that again. So they're going to look at the Joshua Wilder fight and they say, okay, well, are these two guys big enough for us to put up this kind of cash for this fight here, Al? Are they big enough? Because if Joshua's getting guaranteed 50 million, we're going to have to pay Wilder on top of that. So what's he going to be getting? 20 million? What is this going to be? 70 million? 100 million? I mean, how much are you expecting us to put up for the fight? Because we need to recoup. All these purses we're paying out, what are we making off it? These are not fighters who have ever fought a pay-per-view in the United States before. These are the facts, people. This is the reality. Just because you know someone who's a billionaire or a multimillionaire, it don't mean they're going to give you 50, 60, $100 million to put on any old fight. They have to be confident in you that that fight can recoup and make them a profit on top of recouping. This is the issue. Yeah. And once again, Eddie Hearn with Anthony Joshua has proved he can make massive profits off Anthony Joshua's shows in the UK. Al Heyman and Shelly Finkel have not proved that they can do that with Deontay Wilder in the US. They just haven't. I'm not saying they can't, but I'm saying this is why Eddie Hearn wants to see proof of funds from Finkel and Heyman's people. He wants to see proof of funds. Paulie Malignaggi, and I'll put a screenshot which should be throughout this video. Paulie Malignaggi did an interview, and this is a guy who's been in the boxing game a long time. He did an interview earlier on today where he said, yeah, Eddie Hearn needs to see proof of funds. People throw all kinds of numbers out there for fights. It doesn't mean they've actually got the money. Paulie Malignaggi says, if Wilder's team are serious, put the 50 million in escrow. All right, that means that Hearn can't touch it, Wilder's team can't touch it. It's in escrow, right? So that means it's the funds are available, and then they can sit down and negotiate the fight and work out a deal from there. And if it goes ahead, the money's in the escrow account. Joshua is guaranteed to get that money as long as he goes ahead with a fight. And this is Paulie Malignaggi, a guy who's been world champion, a guy who's been around in boxing for many, many years. He's worked with different promoters. He knows how the game works. And he's telling you what the situation is. So yeah, enough of the silliness, please, people. If Wilder's team is serious, they'll meet with Eddie Hearn. Hopefully the rumor today was untrue. Hopefully they have met with Eddie Hearn today, and hopefully they made some progress and the fight will take place. At the end of the day, I want the fight to happen. That's what I want. More than anything, I want the fight to happen. I don't want anyone to duck anyone. I don't want anyone's team to get in the way or any of that business. I want the fight to take place. So, yeah, let me know how you feel in the comments, people. It's happening. I'm out.